Hello and welcome to this early mid-game, 1845 to 1905, Loco summary and best usage guide for Railroad Tycoon 2. Evaluations are in terms of purchase cost, maintenance cost, acceleration, not armor class, reliability, absolute speeds, and speeds per unit maintenance cost, as well as an overall aggregate of considering all of the previous factors. Absolute speeds and speeds per unit's maintenance cost are evaluated in terms of light loads, 75 ton, medium loads, 150 ton, and heavy loads, 300 ton, at 0 and 4% incline respectively. So this would be 75% at 0, 75% at 4, 150 at 0, 150 at 4, and 300 at 0, 300 at 4. Okay, this is the age of steam still, but we have the first of the electrics. That said, we'll get to that in time. So, beginning, the American. The American, overall, we get a kind of slightly crappier than average because it's the first train that you have available. It still manages to do reasonable speeds per unit maintenance cost for light and medium loads as long as you're on flats. So it can be worth keeping these around for quite some time. The Iron Duke, maintenance cost hasn't gone anywhere as the age goes up, although there is a new king of crappy high maintenance costs, and it still does reasonably well for flats high speed work. That said, it doesn't look as good in this age for speed per unit cost, especially on grades. So limit it to flat work. The 8-wheeler, 440, makes some improvements from the previous age in terms of flat speeds per unit cost, and grade speeds per unit cost. So it's the first of the things that you can recommend swapping your old age stuff over into. The Vulcan, I think this is an unsung hero, honestly. Yes, it has kind of crappy absolute speeds. You're not going to want to use this for passengers, yeah? But it does have amazing both purchase and maintenance costs. This thing costs nothing to run. And because of that, even though it has kind of crappy speeds, because it has such an amazingly low cost to run, it means that it actually does really quite well, aside from heavy loads up high grades, and even then it's only kind of average. It does a good job of hauling. As long as you're not dealing with passengers, this thing can actually do a good job. As long as it's on its own line, where its slow absolute speed isn't getting in the way of other trains. Consolidation, 1877. Compared to the sort of things that have come before, it's about the same, although you've made a bit of a gain in reliability. Absolute speeds have maintained about the same to that which has come before. And because of this, can't really especially recommend it. If your old things are starting to fall over due to old age, yeah, sure, go for it. The 3-truck Shay, 82. We get the first of our mountain carry kind of trains, of locos. Purchase cost, yep. Maintenance cost, Acceleration, and reliability is great. As we were saying, it's a mountain hauler. It does well on high grades, or at least reasonably well on high grades, even in terms of specific maintenance cost speed. It does not do well on flats. It's crappy on the flats, so you're only going to want to be using this. I've given it a red here, but honestly, it's red if you consider it in terms of being an all-rounder. This is sort of the all-rounder overall measure. It is good here if you've got to do hauling over mountains and hills until you get access to the camelback, which kicks its butt. Next, the Mastodon, 1890. Crappy maintenance, acceleration, and reliability, but look at those speed stats. Look at them. It's green across the board there, and even with the crappy maintenance cost, that means it does okay-ish, even for bulk goods hauling. So yellow, it's okay-ish overall. You're probably going to want to be using this for passengers if you're converting from things that have come before. Next, the 10-wheeler. 2 years later, you've gained a train that has significantly better, it's made some improvements on acceleration, reasonable ones, and has made also some reasonable gains for reliability. It has traded some of the ability to deal with inclines, but other than that, it's about the same. I would say if you can try if as long as you're not doing hauling work, if you're doing incline hauls, then you might want to consider the 3-truck Shay instead. But if you're doing pure flat work, I'd say try and wait those extra 2 years and instead of going the Mastodon, go the 10-wheeler, assuming it's accessible in the region that you're playing. Next, the Mogul 260, 3 years later. Crappy purchase and maintenance costs, lovely acceleration, average reliability. It is about the same as the 10-wheeler in terms of that it's pretty decent on flats and a bit crappier on grades. About the same. Because it has the higher maintenance cost than the previous one, it's sort of about the same. They're about the same. Now, the Bobo, the 1.3 Bobo. Lovely Bobo, first of the electrics. Now, being the first of its kind, the first electric train, it isn't exactly reliable. And it's expensive. You've had to pay for developing this new technology. That said, it is quite quick. Quite quick. For everything except the heaviest loads on the highest inclines. That said, because of that maintenance cost, it is not exactly going to be wanting to be used for bulk carrying especially. And therefore it gets an overall good. Overall good. You've done very well for light and medium loads. The only way that you're not amazing is for heavy loads up a hill. The Atlantic 442. Quite a ways away, so there's a big time gap here between that and then the previous set of trains. And what have you gained for it? Well, you've gained a horrendous maintenance cost. Absolutely horrid. This thing costs an arm and a leg to keep running, but it has lovely acceleration and absolutely blistering, absolutely blistering flat performance. Maybe not blistering for the heaviest loads, but blistering for light to medium loads. So this should become, where possible, your express. Your express for passengers, potentially. If you're replacing older things that are starting to fall over, you're not going to want to use it for bulk carrying. This will cost you so much money for bulk carrying, but for passengers and mail, yes. And finally, we come to the Camelback, which is an improvement over the old 3-truck Shay, having been a good 27-ish something years. What was that? 17. Anyway, it's been a big gap. And compared to the 3-truck Shay, you have gained reliability. It has superb reliability. And you've gained some maintenance costs. This, especially, the maintenance cost gain, means that compared to the old one, which did quite good for medium and heavy lift over mountains, this just does absolutely superbly for medium and heavy lift over mountains. Can strongly recommend for anything that's got strong inclines. Even on the flats, it doesn't do terribly shitty for heavy loads and medium loads. So inclines, great. Flats, be careful. Good luck.